Good afternoon. Please stand if you are able and join in the singing of O Canada. Chancellor, President, Vice President, Mr. Recently Retired Vice President, Honorable Minister, invited guests, graduates, faculty, staff, family and friends. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this most special day of our academic year. My name is Adam Courage, a faculty member in the Marine Institute School of Maritime Studies and your Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon. For our regular graduation attendees, I'm standing in for Dr. Angie Clark, who has taken on registrar duties for this ceremony. Before we begin, I would like to advise you that in event of emergency, we have one emergency exit towards the back, the double doors that you all came through. And there's a muster station outside as you turn left. I would next like to introduce our distinguished podium members today, starting in the front row. To my immediate left, your right, we have Dr. Angie Clark, Associate Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs pro tempore. We have the Honorable Tom Osborne, Minister of Education and MHA for Waterford Valley. Dr. Rob Shea, Vice President of Memorial University with responsibility for Marine Institute. Dr. Vianne Timmons, President and Vice Chancellor of Memorial University. Dr. Susan Dyer Knight, Chancellor of Memorial University. And congratulations, Chancellor, on 10 years of service, and we wish you well on your impending retirement. We have Lisa Brown, Vice President, Advancement and External Relations. And we have Nancy Smith, Admissions Officer of the Marine Institute. The second row, starting again on my immediate left, your right. No, both of our left, isn't it? Yes, now that I think about it, sorry about that. Eduardo Araujo, President of the Marine Institute Student Union. Eugenie Jacobson, Co-Chair of MI's Graduate Society. Jennifer Howell, Interim Director of Academic and Student Affairs. Nathan Mullins, who will be giving the student address this afternoon. He's a student, or a graduate, excuse me, in nautical science. Kevin Anderson, the head of the School of Fisheries. Captain Fred Anstey, the head of the School of Maritime Studies. Jay Raghunathan, Assistant Head, School of Ocean Technology. And Lori Skinner, Associate Vice President, Administration of Finance of the Marine Institute. And behind them, we have many of my fellow faculty members of the Marine Institute, and we would also like to welcome, we have other distinguished representatives of the university family from St. John's campus as well. Next, we'll continue with the land acknowledgement. I would like to respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq. I would also like to recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Nunatukavut and the Innu of Nitassinan and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. I'm very pleased to offer congratulations to our graduates on behalf of all the management, faculty, and staff of Marine Institute. For our diploma graduates, this is a day that was once far off into the future. When you first landed on campus, the thought of class of 2022 probably seemed to be miles away, but here we are. Our technical certificate and advanced diploma students may not have made the same length of journey, but like all MI students, your days here were long, yet the weeks and months passed by very quickly. This is, quite rightly, a very proud day for you. Some of you may be just figuring out how important this day is for your parents, grandparents, and other loved ones. I know that our graduates are feeling many things today. The relief that this day has arrived, the nervous excitement of starting a new chapter in your life, and the mixed feeling of saying temporary goodbyes to classmates who have become good friends. However, there's no mistaking the pure joy on the faces of those who are able to be here with you today. And we certainly hope to maintain that spirit of joy and celebration throughout the rest of today. I would now like to call on the Honorable Tom Osborne, Minister of Education for the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, to bring greetings from the province.
Thank you. I wanted to start with acknowledging the educators and staff, the management of Marine Institute. It has been a challenging 3 years for sure, and your guidance to our students has certainly helped them to get to where they are today. President Timmins, I want to thank you as well. Your guidance at both the university and the Marine Institute, the province certainly appreciates. To the special guests that are here with our graduates, you've also seen some challenges and helped guide our graduates through those challenges. So thank you for sticking with them. And to our graduates, you are graduating from one of the top-rated institutes globally. You have tremendous opportunity ahead of you. You've not only graduated, but you've graduated through a global pandemic. The challenges that you faced certainly prepare you for some of the challenges that may lay ahead in the careers that you've chosen. You've done well. Congratulations to all of you. There are many, many opportunities out there globally, but please stay home. There are many opportunities at home as well. Congratulations.
Thank you, Minister Osborne, for your greetings, and thank you to the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador for their continued support. Before I call upon Dr. Vianne Timmins to bring greetings, I would like to offer congratulations to her on behalf of the Marine Institute. Dr. Timmins took office as Memorial's President and Vice Chancellor in April 2020, but the pandemic prevented her formal installation until earlier this month. Dr. Timmins, I hope that you found it was worth the wait. It was certainly a very enjoyable ceremony at Memorial's Convocation. And with that, I would like to call upon Dr. Vianne Timmins to address graduation.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, graduates. Try one more time. Good afternoon, graduates. That's so much better. Esteemed Chancellor, do you know that the Chancellor, this is her 17th convocation this spring. 17, she has so much stamina. Also her very last one as our Chancellor, because she steps down the end of July. Can we give her a hand of appreciation? Minister Osborne, it means so much to us that you are here today. You know that our minister said to me, I'm going to have somebody from government at every one of your convocations. And he almost succeeded, really close. But it was noticed and appreciated. And so the minister, a busy man, is here today. Thank you on behalf of all. It shows your support for Memorial University and Marine Institute. Faculty and staff, I love that you clapped when we walked in. Nobody does that for me when I walk in on the St. John's campus. I will say that. So faculty and staff, so great to see you. Parents, friends, family, so wonderful. All of the people here are here to support you, our graduates. So congratulations, graduates. I am thrilled to be here in person to offer my congratulations. This is my first graduation at the Marine Institute. You know, I started in 2020, as I mentioned, on April 1st as the 13th president in the beginning of the pandemic. Now, how unlucky is that, right? 13th, April 1st, pandemic. People were introducing me as a pandemic president. Now, I don't know what they're going to introduce me like now. That maybe we'll have it over. But as you, it was a difficult time. You, as our students, you experienced what is arguably the greatest societal upheaval of our generation. In the middle of your program, or near the end of your program, or in the beginning, could be anywhere. We sent you home because it was 2 years. We sent you home. We said you're going to have to learn remotely. And how many of you found that tough? You're nodding, yes. I found it tough too, working remotely. But what did you do? You persevered. You knew how important it was to finish your program, to keep moving on your educational path. Some of you to start your careers. And that adaptability and commitment is good news for all of us, because you will use your skills and training to build a better future. And most of all, you give us hope. You give us hope because you manage through this. Now today, to everyone in the audience, we're going to make lots of noise. We're going to hoot and holler for these grads as they walk across the street. You think we can do that? We can really hoot and holler for them? And graduates, you too. We should hoot and holler for all of your professors, your teachers who helped and supported you, your families, everyone here. Let's give them a big hand and let me hear you. This is so exciting to be here in person. You know, and then many of you now are launching out into your careers or to further education. I remember very vividly my first real career, not my first job. My first job was at Kentucky Fried Chicken, my first real job. But my first career was I got a teaching job in northern British Columbia. I'd never been outside of Atlantic Canada. So I went out to Calgary and worked there for the summer, got my first car, so exciting, drove up all by myself. I knew no one, nobody, to northern British Columbia. And I told her my first car after 6 months, but I never told my mother. She still doesn't know that I did that. So it was an adventure. It was challenging, it was difficult, but I learned so much. And can you believe that someone who grew up in Labrador City, which I did, whose dad was a miner, 2 grandfathers coal miners, now is standing here today in front of you. So the world is yours. You can accomplish so much. We know that right now, the blue economy is one of the most robust economies we have. 40% of our $176 million of research at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador is on oceans. 40%. It is your time, graduates. This is your opportunity. Your opportunity to work and change the world and do important work that will make a difference. You know, I mentioned this is my first MI graduation. MI, Marine Institute, has given me lots of firsts. For example, when I became president in 2020, the Marine Institute, Glenn Blackwood, nice to see you, Glenn, took me on a tour of the facilities on this campus and Holyrood, Foxtrap, Stephenville. We went everywhere. We went everywhere. It's that song, We Went Everywhere, Man. Isn't that a song we did? So I got on the bridge stimulator and I drove a ship. Does it say drove? What do you say? I maneuvered a ship. I took the wheel of a fast rescue craft at Holyrood and I flew, let me tell you. I put on firefighting gear and dosed a fire in Foxtrap, the whole gear. I scaled and rappelled down a rescue tower in Stephenville. Now let me tell you, that was a tricky one because I did climb up. I had white pants on. And I got to the top, and I had one leg over, and I looked at whoever was with me, because I can't remember. I was so scared, and I said, I've decided I don't want to do this. He leaned into me and said, that's okay, and I thought he was going to help me back, and he bumped me over. And I had to rappel down. It was terrifying, but lots of firsts at the Marine Institute. But I decided that the challenge, the adventure is worth it. And I know you are too. You're excited about the challenge in front of you, the adventure in front of you, and you don't learn by doing easy stuff, do you? You learn by doing challenging things. When you get outside your comfort zone, that's when strength of character emerges. Sometimes when you don't succeed, that's when you have to dig deep and bring out that strength of character, but that's when you learn the most. So my advice to you as graduates is get outside your comfort zone, try new things, be adventurous, because this is not a dress rehearsal for the real thing. This is all the time you have. This is it. So it's important that you do that. When I turned 40, I decided that I was going to do some adventurous because I wasn't very interesting as a person. So I decided I was going to try something new every year in my 40s. So the first year I decided to run a marathon. I did. I went on my birthday, August 29th, for a run. Thought, I'll kill this. I couldn't make 2 kilometers. I couldn't make it past 2 kilometers. I was not in great shape, but I was determined, and I decided to set that lofty goal, and in Ottawa in May that year, I was running a marathon. I got to kilometer 40, and you know how long a marathon is, 42 kilometers. At kilometer 40, I realized I can finish this. I can do this, and I decided I didn't need to. And I started to walk off the track, and I was running with my husband, who started yelling at me, what are you doing? I said, I don't need to prove anything. I can finish this, but I don't have to. And then the people on the sideline started yelling at me and cheering me and pushing me. And I came back on, and I finished because all the people on the sideline lifted me up and got me through those last 2 kilometers. So the moral of the story is look for support. Welcome support, and let people lift you up, because sometimes you're going to need people to hold you up. That's really important. The next year, I decided I was going to learn to ride a motorcycle. And I did. I took lessons. I got my motorcycle license, and I hated it. There was nothing scarier than seeing that pavement when you're going 100 kilometers an hour. How many of you ride a motorcycle? Is it scary sometimes? Oh. It was to me. I decided I was never going to ride a motorcycle. Mother's Day that year, my husband bought me a motorcycle. Then I had to ride it until my son turned 16 when he told me he couldn't wait to get his motorcycle license. On his birthday, I sold it. There was no way I was going to do it. So life is interesting. Try new things. Make sure that you're adventurous in life, because that's what makes you a leader. And you are the leaders who are going to move some of the largest objects on our planet. You are the leaders who are going to explore and map the deepest areas of our oceans. And you are the leaders who are going to protect our waters and feed the world through sustainable and healthy food production. You are critical leaders for our future, aren't they? Aren't they, audience? You are. You know, what an adventure you're going to have in your careers, above, in, and under our oceans. Albert Einstein once said, learn from tomorrow, live for today. No, that's wrong. I'm going to try this again. Albert Einstein once said, learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to never stop questioning. So graduates, be curious, Never stop asking, never stop being adventurous, and most of all, keep on hoping. We have so much confidence in you because we know you are going to leave this world a better place than we have left it for you. You are going to change the future. And everyone in this room, we have so much hope and excitement. We are going to watch you all, each and every one of you, make a difference. Have a wonderful future and have a great evening tonight and a wonderful weekend. Congratulations, graduates.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Timmons, for providing those kind words to our graduates today. Marine Institute received some big news this past year as our own Dr. Rob Shea officially became the Vice President of Memorial University for the Fisheries and Marine Institute. That happened on January 1st. He had been serving as acting Vice President since the previous September when he took over for Mr. Glenn Blackwood, who it's great to see you here today, Glenn. It is now my honor to invite Dr. Shea to deliver his first ever graduation address.
Yeah, no pressure at all there. If I screw this one up, I don't know if I'm fired. Is that the idea? It's interesting because while my appointment started on January 1st, my first official day of work was January 4th. And so that Monday of the New Year weekend was a holiday. So I heard at about 11 o'clock Monday morning that there was going to be a snowstorm on Tuesday, which was my first day of work. So I made a few phone calls around and said, so who closes the building? Is it me or is it somebody else? What do we do? They said, no, we've got all that under control. Don't worry, we might get a snowstorm, we might not. At about 2 o'clock that afternoon, the Chief Medical Officer of Health said, we're going from alert level 3 to alert level 4, and we're sending everybody home for the month. My first day on the job, we closed the building and the university because of the snowstorm, and we went from alert level 3 to alert level 4, and we sent everybody home for a month. So Dr. Timmons, might have been April 1st, 2020, but we both had similar experiences on that one at beginning those days. Dr. Timmons mentioned about the people clapping coming in, and I think that that's just one of the really wonderful pieces of the community here at the Marine Institute. But Dr. Timmons, it's quite interesting. I keep telling people that we meet, they say, how's your job going? I said, I actually have the best job in the province, bar none. Because every morning I come in through those doors and people clap for me, every morning. And actually when I leave in the evening, they're clapping too. So it's all a really good place to work. I think, too, that as we talk about courage, and Dr. Timmons has her theme of courage, and you need to challenge yourselves, and you have challenged yourselves. And the pandemic has challenged all of us, but it's challenged you because we asked you to go home. We asked you to come back. We asked you to go home again, then we asked you to come back. It's been all this roller coaster. But in a lot of those ways, you've built resilience and you've built courage. But Dr. Timmons, I'm not too sure if you know this, but while you were out with Mr. Blackwood traveling the province, I got a live feed of you coming down and rappelling down that thing. It wasn't a good moment for me. I was about to call our Chief Risk Officer, who is here today, Greg McDougall, and say, are we insured for this? We could lose a president, and it's because of the Marine Institute we're going to lose a president. He said, no, don't worry about it, you're good to go. So I'm really glad you made it down. I'm really glad you made it back, and the last 2 years have been an absolutely wonderful experience for us. I want to say special attention to and thank Minister Osborne for being here today. Minister, it's absolutely wonderful to see you. Great fan of the Marine Institute. He was here for a skills competition, I think, 3 years ago before the pandemic hit, and absolutely amazing to embrace the community that is the Marine Institute. Chancellor, Dr. Susan Dyer Knight, absolutely wonderful to see you again. Dr. Knight, as the President has said, this is her last official graduation, so we're really wonderful to have her here, and I'll say a few words a little bit later. Lisa Brown, our Vice President of Advancement and External Relations, and Ross Butler, Ross, if you can give just a wave. Ross Butler is representing our Marine Institute's Industry Advisory Committee here today. So I just want to say, too, welcome to the faculty, staff, parents, grandparents, partners, significant others. You don't go through any kind of a program in post-secondary studies without a lot of support from people. And it goes without saying that in some places as we move forward in the community, you're a part of this community as well. It's just not our graduates today, it's each and every one of you sitting in this room, because you've been a part of our community for the last number of years. And you will continue to be a part of our community, because all of these wonderful smiling faces, you can smile, like, okay, you can smile, it's good, it's a good day. The ability to be a part of this community is not just our graduates, it's all of you as well. So always feel that our doors are open. Because the Marine Institute, as I've always said when I travel and when I do presentations, the Marine Institute is Newfoundland and Labrador's Marine Institute. It is Canada's Marine Institute, it is the world's Marine Institute. So the doors are open. Now they're closed between 11 in the night and 6 in the morning, but other than that, you're good to go. Well, actually, these students might know that sometimes I come in at 11 o'clock in the night, or I'm leaving at 11 o'clock in the night, and they're still wandering around the building, or they're at the front door waiting for skip the dishes or a pizza to be delivered. So it's always interesting to see the vibrance of this community. You know, it's interesting when we look at the resilience of what has happened and the completion of assignments and the remote work and the remote learning and what you've gone through. I think there's an opportunity for you to talk about that with employers when you go forward for interviews. It's an opportunity for you to talk about that in your cover letters. That applied piece is not just your education, it's not just your training, it's your ability to synthesize that into a cover letter and an interview process. And Bernie Brockerville is here from our Office of Career Integrated Learning, and Bernie would know full well that industry is about you being able to talk about your competencies and skills. So congratulations for getting to this point. I want to say too that it's interesting as we celebrate our students' achievements and opportunities. In 1964, the Fisheries and Marine Institute was, developed. And interestingly enough, and we're talking about my first day and the president's first day, the first day the Marine Institute was supposed to be open, Minister, was January 11th in 1964. And guess what? We had a snowstorm. So our actual official day is January 12th. So I think as we look forward to that process and looking at the ups and downs, there's always need for resilience, no matter how old we are and what we're doing. One of the things on the mission statement outside these doors that's on the wall right next to the Grand Banks facsimile is the ability of our mission statement at the Marine Institute. And we are probably the only post-secondary institution in Canada that in its mission statement has economic development in its first line. And we're true to that. If you go down to Hermitage and Harbour Breton and you look at aquaculture facilities, we were there from 1992 on. It's the ability of our trainers, our educators, our instructors, our research scientists, and everything else that's there. So I think that that's an absolutely wonderful piece, and you're a part of that world. You know, this is the UN Decade of the Oceans. We're about 2 years in now, and I think when you look at what we've done and where we are, the ocean's future is, as the President has said, 40% of research funding at Memorial is on oceans. And it's the UN Decade of the Oceans. The UN just doesn't set up any decade, willy-nilly. It's a lot of focus on it. We had a Blue Economy Symposium, a number of students participated in that in the fall, and that was absolutely amazing to talk about not just economic development, but sustainability, climate control, climate change, all of those kind of things, water quality, all the things that we are part of that we sometimes take for granted because we're so close to the ocean, and we can touch it each and every day, and most of us do. You know, this month, a team of 3 ocean mapping students placed 3rd in an international speed mapping challenge. Teams from 5 countries spent a month reinventing the way navigational charts are produced. Top 3 in the world. We have a number of students, 3 marine engineering design students, and I apologize for the 3 marine engineering design students because I was on a panel with the president of Equinor and others at Energy NL conference, and I knew they were in the office, but the audience, but they didn't know I was going to do it. But just think, 3 of them were at a table, I get up to do my keynote, and I out them. I say, could so-and-so stand up? Yeah, so-and-so, and they're looking at me like deer in the headlights, like, is it me? So they all stood up, and I said to all the masked people from industry there, I said, you know something? This is the future of energy in Newfoundland and Labrador. And they got a round of applause, and lo and behold, I met one of their parents 2 days ago who said, oh, by the way, my son was at the table, and I heard you outed him. And I said, yes, and he looked a little embarrassed when I did. He said, so many people came up to him, they were ready to offer him jobs that day. So when you think about the power of networking, when you think about the power of your education, your training, this is what the world you're entering into, and I'm so, so proud of you. You know, one of the things that you look at too when you look at the MATE competition. So MATE competition is an ROV competition. We work with young people in grades 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, 12, and we work with them when they come to post-secondary. Mount Pearl Senior High won the MATE competition this year about 4 weeks ago here in our flume tank. So they put together an ROV, they participated in the competition, they won. That team is now in California participating in a world ROV competition. Just think of the opportunities you get. And Glenn Blackwood has a screenshot, I believe. I still haven't seen it, but it was a meat competition a number of years ago. And the Marine Institute team beat out the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. So let's be proud of where we come from. Let's be proud of your training and your education. Take that education and training and parlay it into any opportunities you want to do in the world. You know, one of the interesting things, too, is that students just don't do high school. When they come up, we have engineering students, we have science students, we have Marine Institute students who all come together with Eastern Edge of Robotics, and their team is also in California this week participating in that competition. Our fisheries students are participating in coastal restoration programs in Placentia Bay on eelgrass research. They're out there now. They're probably out there on boats now. Again, from a chief risk officer perspective, we do a lot of safety and training, and we put them all through lots of safety training, as you well know. So they're out there doing water quality, fish and shellfish research, and reducing the effects of climate change. One of the really interesting stories that happened in the last month was we had the Deputy Minister of Fisheries federally come down, and we were doing a tour for a couple of hours. And we had a couple of our students do a presentation because, and I think Eugenie, you were one of them, right? You were one of the students? Yeah, so we had students doing presentations. And one of our students was doing research on chronic cold water exposure on fish harvesters. Because when fish harvesters go out, sometimes they take off their gloves to pull up their nets or do whatever, and constantly have their hands in cold water. And this student came from kinesiology, is now doing a master's degree with us. And you know what she's looking at is the cold water effect on hand motor skills. And over time, she's finding that they experience nerve damage. So that's the kind of cutting edge research that's happening within the Institute and we can all be proud of. I think as we go through, you know, one of the things we should be proud of is this year we have accreditation for our 2 ocean technology programs through the Technology Accreditation Canada. Not an easy feat. It takes a lot of time and effort to pull together files. It takes a lot of time together to interview students and faculty and staff. That's the kind of thing that we do. We want to have national accreditation. We also got our ISO 9001 accreditation this year. In this fall, you're going to hear a lot, I believe, about a new facility that is being built in Holyrood. And Gary Corbett, the Chief Administrative Officer for the town of Holyrood, is here today. And Gary, thanks for coming and being here with us today. But that is a 36,000 square foot facility that's all about oceans innovation. It's on the ocean, it's for the ocean, it's for you to learn about education, training, research. It's about industry coming in and collaborating with community and wondering about the new technologies of the future. And the tagline is, if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. So the ability of building that, we're very proud that the building is named after Dr. Arthur May, a former president of Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. And Dr. May was also a big proponent of the Marine Institute and was a very, very supporter over numerous decades, former Deputy Minister of Fisheries actually before he became President Memorial. So that's going to be a hub for developing talent, your experience. It's also going to be a test bed for new technology, and we're really, really proud of that. 30 years ago, this year, Marine Institute joined Memorial University, and what an amazing partnership and relationship it has been. It has been given us an opportunity to create, in the last 5 years, 5 brand new master's degrees and 2 brand new PhD programs. This is radically shifting how we look at academic laddering. You can do a certificate here, you can do a diploma, you can do a degree, you can do a master's degree, and you can do a PhD. That's the kind of value-added ecosystem we provide for academic credentialing. So I think that this is going to be absolutely incredible year for us going forward. It's been an incredibly challenging year for you as graduates and all of us in the room as we've navigated COVID, but I think we've learned a lot. We've come out on the other end and we've survived a pandemic. Never in my dream would I think I'd have to lead an institution during a worldwide pandemic, but we did it, we got through it, and I think we're going to come out on the other end. Final comments I'd like to say is that we have 2 new research tiers in maritime studies. One is on the effectiveness of simulation, and the other is improving safety, security, and wellness in the maritime sector. I think that that's going to be absolutely incredible as we go forward on what that all means to us. In a few minutes, you're going to hear a few songs from an entertainer who is absolutely incredible in my mind, a former Self-Directed Learning Award winner from the School of Music. Self-Directed Learning Award is when it's given out every year, and it's given out by the Provost's office on the St. John's campus, that allows us to have a worldwide pan-institutional look. Michaela Barnes from Marine Institute won it one year. People have won it from Grenfell. People have won it from other campuses and schools. But Michaela did some wonderful work while she was here. But Jamie Moran is going to present or sing in a few minutes. But one of the songs he's going to sing is Let Me Fish Off Cape St. Mary's. You all know that, right? It's iconic. If you turn on the radio on Saturday morning on VOCM, you're going to hear the song. If you turn on Oz or VOCM on Sunday morning, you're going to hear the song. But what's really interesting, and I'd say it to all of you, is not just that Otto Kellen wrote that song. It's that Otto Kellen was a master model boat builder. And a lot of his model boats were donated to the Marine Institute. So after the ceremony, if you get a chance, just go out and wander down the hall, go out towards the stairs and just go down to your left. And even on just immediately to your left, there's a lot of model boats that Otto Kellen devoted and gave to the Marine Institute. So I think it's only fitting that we would have Let Me Fish Off Capes and Mirrors as one of our telltale songs today. I want to say thank you, all of you. Graduates, I couldn't be more proud. I really couldn't. And I think that the most proud I can be is standing over there and shaking your hand or fist bumping you or whatever you feel comfortable with doing. The ability of being there to welcome you into the alumni family of Memorial University of Newfoundland is an honor. It's a privilege. And Madam President, I hope I still have my job because that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shea. First one done. Yes, gone. There's a large team behind today's event, including our marketing and student affairs departments. And I would particularly like to thank our crew in the registrar's office, who tirelessly work to ensure that the graduates can receive their diplomas each year. There's quite a lot of auditing, double-checking, and triple-checking done in the lead-up to today's ceremony. I would also like to acknowledge our hard-working cleaning staff. They do great work all year, but they take it to another level each year in graduation week. The corridors are actually absolutely just gleaming today. All right, graduates, your moment is just about here. As we prepare to commence with the presentation of candidates, I would like to acknowledge the MI graduates who are not here today, some of whom may be watching online. Many are already working, others completed industry response courses, or, as undergraduates and graduate students, participated in Memorial's convocation ceremonies a few weeks ago. Also, I would like to tell our guests that we encourage you to take pictures as your graduate crosses the stage. Please do take the time that you need, but please be mindful of the cameras that are providing the stream for our ceremony. I now call upon Dr. Angie Clark, our Associate Vice President, Academic and Student Affairs pro tempore, to present the candidates for graduation.
Thank you, Adam. Good afternoon, everyone. I've said this in previous graduations when I've taken this podium, but it's a little bit special today. After 3 years of COVID, we're back. And how special is it for you? And it's wonderful to see everyone here, and I'm delighted that we are able to have an in-person graduation this year. In the role of acting registrar for the Marine Institute this afternoon, I have the very sincere pleasure of announcing for you the names of graduates for Marine Institute postgraduate certificates, technical certificates, technician diplomas, diplomas of technology, and advanced diploma programs. Before we start the official proceedings, I want to provide some context for who will be crossing the stage in this specific ceremony. In addition to today's graduation, we will be hosting a ceremony in the fall for all of our graduates from 2020 and 2021. Initially, it was our intent for this ceremony today to just include the June 2022 graduates, but we had some individuals that couldn't make that ceremony. So like any good Newfoundlander, we opened the door and said, come on in, you're gonna cross the stage. There's also a special group that in any normal academic year would be crossing the stage in our June ceremony. This is our graduating nautical science group, who due to scheduling of their very significant final tech session, will not fully finish their program for 2 short weeks. And we told them in rehearsal they still have to finish those two technical courses. But knowing by this fall these new mariners will have several weeks of sea time under their belts as the industry's newest watch-keeping mates, we wanted to celebrate their success today with our community and their families. So here we go. This afternoon's presentation of certificates and diplomas will be made by the head of the School of Fisheries, Kevin Anderson, head of the School of Maritime Studies, Captain Fred Anstey, assistant head of the School of Ocean Technology, Jay Ragnuthan, and the vice president of Memorial University with responsibility for the Marine Institute, Dr. Rob Shea. At this point every year, we usually say, hold your applause until we finish each school. But I'm not going to say that this year. I'm going to tell you to clap and cheer for each and every individual that walks across this stage this afternoon. I figure we've held our applause for long enough in the pandemic. So I'd now like to invite Mr. Kevin Anderson and Dr. Rob Shea to present the candidates from the School of Fisheries. Yep, let's kick it off. For the postgraduate certificate in quality management, Ola Uppenlango. And I made my first mistake. That's what you get for being acting. But I'll only make it once. I forgot to say Lola's hometown. So she's from Ogun State in Nigeria. Kenneth Adele from Point Harcourt, Nigeria. For the Diploma of Technology in Marine Environmental Technology, Janice Costello from Harbour, Maine, Newfoundland. Aaliyah Jane from Victoria, Newfoundland. You seem ready. Someone can go for it. Janine O'Reilly from St. John's, Newfoundland. Courtney Osmond from Lewisport. For the Advanced Diploma in Food Safety, Sadia Sultan from St. John's, Newfoundland. Trishurna Dasumurte from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. For the Advanced Diploma in Sustainable Aquaculture, Juan Lasada from Bottega, Colombia. Sydney Plow from Kingston, Ontario. Andrew Tucker, Toronto, Ontario. For the Advanced Diploma in Water Quality, Sabina Akhtar from Bangladesh. Janaya Hussain from Deccan, Bangladesh. Caroline Newberry from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Brandon Boone from Witless Bay, Newfoundland. Tia Marsh from Greens Harbour, Newfoundland and Labrador, which was my second error. I apologize. Tina Marsh, Greens Harbour, Newfoundland and Labrador. This concludes the presentation of certificates and diplomas for the School of Fisheries. Thank you, Kevin. I would now like to call upon Captain Fred Anstey, School Head, to join Dr. Shea for the presentation of candidates for the School of Maritime Studies. For the Technical Certificate in Bridge Watch, Riley Petton from Port de Grave, Newfoundland and Labrador. For the Diploma in Technology in Marine Engineering, Noah Andrews from Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland and Labrador. For the Diploma of Technology in Nautical Science, Matthew Chippett from Clarenville. There's no fun to be had. Michael Clark from Witless Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador. Clara Doan, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. So the reason Clara's doing this, I have to explain for the purpose of the audience. Clara's dress is actually pictures of her whole experience at Marine. So if I was a TikTok video, I guess I would say a little commotion for the dress. Thanks, Janine, I appreciate it. Thanks. Brandon Goodyear, Lumsden, Newfoundland and Labrador. Aaron Goodyear from Lumsden, Newfoundland and Labrador. John Sebastian Gregoire from Montreal, Quebec. Blake Lovies from Carbonear. Matt Martin, Mount Pearl. Colin Miller, Grand Falls, Windsor. Nathan Mullins from Torbay. We got to even out the picture, folks. James Murphy from Parker's Cove, Newfoundland and Labrador. Benjamin Noonan from Paradise. Darcy O'Brien from Conception Bay South. Kyle Whalen from Cape Royal. Clay Strickland from the Goulds. Christian Bailey, Mount Pearl. For the Diploma of Technology in Naval Architecture, Jody Biswas from Bangladesh. Jennifer Clark from Whitburn. Sean Daly from St. John's. Matthew Davis, St. John's. Joshua Gowdy, CBS. Alan Heath from Springdale, Newfoundland and Labrador. George Hedges from Mount Forest, Ontario. And that was a joke I obviously didn't catch on to. I think I'm going to have to get an atlas and look up if Mount Forest or whatever I just said is his hometown is real. I don't think it is. There's geographers here somewhere in the back. We'll consult later. Nathan LeDrew from Conception Bay South. Idiom McKinney from Nassau, Bahamas. Mugford from Plate Cove East. Khoi Pham from Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. For the Diploma of Technology in Marine Engineering Systems Design, Jared Hedge from St. Philip's. Alexander Hefferton from Valleyfield. Raylene Hood from St. John's. Mackenzie McDonald from St. Catharines. Ty Raina Clark from Cupid's. Alex Saunders from Gander. This concludes the presentation of certificates and diplomas for the School of Maritime Studies. Thank you, Fred. I would now like to call upon Jay Ragnuthan to join Dr. Shea for the presentation of candidates from the School of Ocean Technology. For the Technician Diploma in Remotely Operated Vehicles, Boris Barsevich from Minsk, Belarus. Anton Mepp from the Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Lauren Odell from Torbay. Evan Wheeler from Corner Brook. This concludes the presentation of certificates and diplomas for the School of Ocean Technology. Thank you, Jay. Next, we will present the Marine Institute Bronze Medals. In recognition of academic excellence, the Marine Institute awards a bronze medal to the student receiving the highest average in the final year of each diploma and certificate program. As I noted in my earlier remarks, all students are not finished at this point in 2022. So all remaining medals, including the Governor General's Medal, will be awarded in our October ceremony. However, we are able to award some of our 2022 medals, and will do so now. The medals that are to be presented in this ceremony today will be awarded by Dr. Rob Shea. The bronze medal for naval architecture is George Hodges. The bronze medal for marine engineering systems design is Jarrett Hedges. Thank you, Dr. Shea. This concludes our presentation of certificates, diplomas, and medals for this ceremony. I have said before that as a campus, students represent the very best of us. You are the best indicator of our collective effort and success. And as alumni, you embody nothing but potential to do wonderful, meaningful, and productive work in all the areas you focus in. I offer you a genuine and heartfelt congratulations. You've battled through a pandemic for this, and this accomplishment is something that you should be extremely proud of. I also want to say an extra special thank you to the community that put together this event. As you can imagine, to the individuals that may have been playing basketball on Monday, this doesn't look like this every day. And operationally, to get the event is an effort and a feat. And their extra effort and work never goes unnoticed and is very much appreciated. The strong community at the Marine Institute supports you, not only through your program, but in events like today. Thank you.
Well, that's it. Well, not quite it, but as an instructor, I'd sincerely like to congratulate all our graduates and particularly our medal winners, and truly thank you for your good work. I extend the same thanks to all the students, not just the medal winners who performed consistently well or ever just made an extra effort on an assignment. It might seem hard to believe, but as we instructors review stacks of drawings, papers, calculations, presentations, we actually enjoy examining your good work. So any extra effort from you is truly appreciated beyond the letter or number grade that you received. It's now time for the student address to be presented by Nathan Mullins, who you just saw across the stage a couple of minutes ago. Nathan has been a leader in his nautical science class and has been a high achiever in academics and in events like the Nautical Skills Competition. I now ask Nathan to deliver his student address.
Thank you. My name is Nathan Mullins, and today I'm graduating from the Nautical Science program. As your fellow graduate and colleague, it is my honor to deliver the student address to you today. I would first like to acknowledge and thank my fellow students, faculty, staff, honored guests, parents, and supporters for attending today. Can you believe that after 4 years of countless late-night study sessions, early mornings, and long days, we've finally made it to our graduation day? Take the time today to enjoy what a momentous occasion this is and to reflect on all the hard work and dedication that it took to get here. In a few short moments, the graduation ceremony will conclude, bringing to a close our time as students of the Marine Institute. We shall be proud to call ourselves alumni of such an amazing organization. My journey at the Marine Institute began while I was still in high school and researching different post-secondary options. I was not quite sure what I wanted to do after high school until I came here for a tour of the Marine Institute. That is when I first learned that we have a world-class educational institution right here in our own province. That is evident by the fact that we have students who come from all over the world just to attend the Marine Institute. In my class alone, we have students from most provinces in Canada and even as far away as Africa and the Bahamas. While in my last year of high school, I was invited to attend the Nautical Skills Competition. This is an annual event which is hosted by the Master Mariners of Canada and MI and is sponsored by various industry partners. What struck me most about the event was seeing how the faculty and staff volunteered their own time to make this event such a success and valuable learning opportunity for the students. It was then that I realized how dedicated the instructors are here. They have always gone above and beyond to help ensure our success in our programs. I was also impressed to see the students from all years of the program working together in groups and learning from one another. This helped solidify my decision to attend the Nautical Science program at the Marine Institute. Since attending as a high school student, I've participated in the nautical skills competition every year that has taken place. And I'm proud to say that this year, our team finally won. I remember during my orientation 4 years ago in this very gymnasium that Mr. Glenn Blackwood, Marine's former vice president, said the words, "Education is a journey, not a destination." And those words have always stuck with me as it rings true about the Marine Institute. While graduation is the destination that we've always been working towards, we have all made friends along the way, made wonderful memories, as well as had wonderful experiences which will stick with us for years to come. And that is what's really important. In the Nautical Science program, we have a year-long work term, which is an invaluable experience that helps us provide the link between the theory that we learn in class and the practical knowledge which we gain in our technical sessions. The experience gained on our sea phases are like no other, and this helped to prepare us for the next exciting step in our careers. There is no doubt that the students graduating here today have had one of the most challenging educational experiences possible. First, in January of 2020, we were hit with the storm of the century, better known as Snowmageddon, which caused school to be closed for 2 weeks and put us 2 weeks behind in semester. Then, a few months later, the COVID-19 pandemic struck NL, and this sent us all into lockdown. We had to quickly adapt from learning in person to being taught virtually, and the pandemic posed other major challenges for our education, from virtual learning to the process of writing exams and the possibility of postponed work terms. In the early stages of the pandemic, we did not know if we were even going to be able to write our exams or go on our work terms. Yet, even with all these challenges, we found a way to persevere and have made it to our graduation day. After today, you'll be graduated and starting the exciting phase in your lives where you begin to pursue your professional careers. Unlike my class, who still has to finish off our technical session. While some of you may be anxious that your time as a student of Marine Institute is over, do not be sad, but instead look back on the fond memories and take the knowledge that you have gained here through every step of your life. I once again wanted to thank every person who had a role in helping me and all the other graduates here today reach this point, and one more big congratulations to the Marine Institute graduating class of 2022. May the wind be forever at your backs.
Well done, Nathan. Thank you very much for that thoughtful reflection on your time here at the MI. Now, we are going to have a new addition to our program this year, a musical interlude to take a little time to relax and enjoy what's going on around us. And it'll be featuring Jamie Moran. And Jamie's from Pooch Cove and a recent graduate of the Munn School of Music percussion program. He performed with many ensembles during his time at Munn and also with multiple local Newfoundland folk bands. He plays many different instruments, including guitar, bouzouki, mandolin, boron, bass, banjo, drums, and he also sings. Jamie's currently teaching private music lessons and is working towards his music education degree at Munn. And I believe he's got 3 songs ready for us today. And Jamie, you're ready to go? Jamie Moran.
Good afternoon, folks. I don't think my mic is on, maybe. Good afternoon, folks. I think the mic is working now. Okay, excellent, lovely. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Clark reached out to me a little while back to come in and play a few tunes for you all, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, but what exactly would you like me to play? And we kind of got to, talking about stuff, and she said, well, we would like you to do a couple of like Newfoundland folk songs that talk about like the sea and like the water and that kind of thing. And I was saying to her, I said, that might be a little bit difficult to do. And she said, well, why? And I said, because there's hundreds of Newfoundland folk songs that exist and are performed constantly, and there's not one written about the water or the sea. Which of course was a joke. I actually sent her a list of probably 12 or 13 songs. I was like, here, pick. But anyway, this first song is a more kind of recent Newfoundland folk song. Been around for about maybe 40 years or so. It was written by Jim Payne. It's called Wave Over Wave. Oh, me name's Abel Rogers, a chairman am I, on a three-masted schooner from Twillingate Isle. I've been the world over, north, south, east and west, but the middle of nowhere's where I likes it best. Where it's a wave over wave and sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me, but to sail the salt sea, boys, sail the sea. There's no other life but to sail the salt sea. Well, I leave my wife alone, only 10 months on the air, for she built me a home and raised my children there. She'd never come out to bid farewell to me, or ken why a sailor must sail the salt sea. Where it's a wave over wave and sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me, but to sail the salt sea, boys, sail the sea. There's no other life but to sail the salt sea. Well, the work it is hard and the hours are long, but my spirit is willing, my back it is strong. And when the work's over, the whiskey will pour, we'll dance with the girls upon some foreign shore. I've sailed the world over for decades or more. Enough times I wonder what I do it for. I don't know the answer, it's pleasure and pain, but with life to live over, I'd do it again. Where it's a wave over wave and sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me, but to sail the salt sea, boys, sail the sea. There's no other life but to sail the salt sea. Thank you very much. There's another tune that I'll do now. It's another kind of a slower one. I'll give you time to kind of reflect, I guess, upon why we're all here today, of course, celebrate the graduating class. I would like to extend my formal congratulations to you all. I was in your folks' shoes 3 days ago, and was doing the exact same thing. So this is your guys' day. So make sure you own it and cherish it and enjoy it. And that's my kind of very advice, I guess, to pass on to you. But there's another song written by Otto P. Kelland, and it's called Let Me Fish Off Cape St. Mary's. Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hag down sail and the foghorns wail. With my friends, the Browns and the Clearys, let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Let me feel my dory lift to the broad Atlantic combers, where the tide rips swirl and the wild ducks swirl, where old Neptune calls the numbers, neath the broad Atlantic combers. Let me sail up that golden bay, with my oilskins all a-streaming, from the thunder squall when I hauled me trow, and my old Cape Ann a-gleaming, with my oilskins all a-streaming. Let me view that rugged shore, where the beach is all a-glisten, with the capeland span, where from dusk to dawn you bait your trout and listen to the undertow a-hissing. When I reach that last big shoal, where the ground swells break asunder, where the wild sands roll to the surge's toll, let me be a man and take it when my dory fails to make it. Take me back to that snug green cove, where the seas roll up their thunder. There let me rest in the earth's cool breast, where the stars shine out their wonder, and the seas roll up their thunder. Thank you. I suppose you're probably thinking, is he just going to do these really slow, sad songs all day, or is he going to do a fast one? He's going to do a fast one. So, yeah. And as I mentioned too on Tuesday, as part of the postponed Convocation celebrations, I finished my music degree last year, and it's kind of weird for me to be here and playing guitar and singing, because that's not what I did my music degree in. But yeah, it's still, it's a great bit of fun. So here's one now to finish it off. It was written by one of the great Newfoundland songwriters of the 20th century, a man by the name of Johnny Burke. He wrote his most famous song is probably a song called Excursion Around the Bay, which I'm sure no one here has ever heard of. And but this is probably his second most well-known tune. And I will leave you all with this nice upbeat song, and hopefully we can keep that celebration going throughout the day. And of course, this is Friday, so we have the weekend to celebrate now as well, right? Well, all right. It's a tune called The Killer Groove Soiree. Well, you may talk a Clare and Lowlands Ball or anything you choose, but it couldn't hold a softbox to the spring Killer Groove. Sure, if you want your rival straight, come out next week with me, and you'll have to wear your glasses at the Killer Groove Soiree. Sure, there was Berkshire, Cartwine, Berry Wine and Turbine, Jowls and Cavalances, ginger beer and tea. Pig's feet, cat's meat and dumplings lie up in a sheet, with Danny lying a craggy seat at the Killer Groove Soiree. Oh, I've arrowed Clooney's beaver as I squared me yards a sail, and the swallowtail from Hogan Neck was foxy at the tail. Billy Cudahy's old working pets and Patsy Nolan shoes, and the Noel Express from Fogarty to Sporting Keller Cruise. There was Dan, Millie, Joel, Lily, Tan, and Mrs. Silly, dancing like a little police would raise your heart to see. Jim, Brian, Lynn, Ryan, Flipper, Smith, and Caroline, I tell you boys, we had a time at the Killer Groove Soiree. Oh, and I arrived at Betsy Strokes that night at 8:30. Sure, the place was black with carriages awaiting at the gate. With Clooney's funnel upon me pate, the first word Betsy said, "Here comes a local preacher with the pulpit on his head." There was Bill Muse, Dan Hughes, Wilson Taft and Teddy Roos. O'Brien D sat in the blues and looking hard at me. Jim Fling, Tom King, Jansen, champion of the ring, and all the boxers like a bring to the Killer Groove Soiree. Oh, the Saratoga Lancers first Miss Betsy kindly said, "Sure, I danced with Nancy Cronin and her granny on the head." And Hogan danced with Betsy, well, you should have seen his shoes as he lashed the muskets from their back that night in Killer Cruise. There was wild guineas, cold guineas, bullocks' heads and pickaninnies, everything to catch the pennies you'd break your sides to see. Oiled up, hold up, and apple jam was in a cup. I'll tell you boys, we had enough at the Killer Groove Soiree. Crooked Flavin struck the fiddler, and the hand I then took in. I used to see those Clooney's beaver, and it flattened to the rim. And Hogan's coke was like the best the tails were gone, you see. It says, "I did devil Holly and your Killer Groove Soiree." There was Berkshire, Cartwine, Cherry Wine and Turpentine, Jowls and Cavalances, ginger beer and tea. Pig's feet, cats and meat, and dumplings laid up in a sheet, with Danny lying a craggy seat at the Killer Groove Soiree. Sure, there was Berkshire, Cartwine, Cherry Wine and Turpentine, Jowls and Cavalances, ginger beer and tea. Pig's feet, cats and meat, and dumplings laid up in a sheet, with Danny lying a craggy seat at the Killer Groove Soiree. Thank you very much.
Beautifully done, Jamie. Thank you very much. I thought we might have some dancers for that last song. I don't know if that's a graduation or a convocation first, but anyway. Yes, thank you again for sharing that with us today. That's wonderful. And next, we're going to acknowledge the work of one of our outstanding faculty members. So I'd like to ask Dr. Angie Clark to return and to present Marine Institute's 2022 Dr. Peter Fisher Teaching and Learning Award.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks for doing such a wonderful job as MC this afternoon. I have the very sincere pleasure this afternoon to present our annual Teaching and Learning Award. It is always special when we have the opportunity to acknowledge an influential educator on our campus. This year is extra special, as we also will be officially changing the name of this annual award to honor the memory of someone who had an undeniable positive impact on the teaching and learning enterprise at the Marine Institute campus. Dr. Peter Fisher was an incredible leader, a modest visionary, intelligent, empathetic, kind, and was consistently committed to making this campus a better place. As a faculty member and a curriculum specialist, he was unmatched in his ability to see past barriers, see the good in students, and more generally, in people. And in all reality, elevated what many thought was possible in terms of undergraduate and graduate education here at the Marine Institute. As a leader, he had a vision that we are still collectively bringing to life. Peter was also a husband, a wonderful dad, the sweetest of grandparents, and the best of friends. His family are here with us this afternoon, and I hope for them that this tribute represents our shared respect for his impact, acknowledges his significant contribution, and is something that you all too can be very proud of. It has been said that teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. In that frame, a good teacher can make the world of difference in a person's life and to their lifelong success. I can certainly attest to being the beneficiary of Dr. Peter Fisher having impact. And the students who contributed to this year's awards recipients nomination shared commentary that for this individual, teaching is a passion. They have a genuine enthusiasm for the thematic area of their work and demonstrates a commitment to their students' learning and skills acquisition. Noting the trials of the pandemic, a student contributor noted that this educator has gone above and beyond to ensure that the complex concepts in their curriculum were fully understood by creating video tutorials, extensive troubleshooting of technical issues, and always made time for one-on-one video assistance. This year's recipient does not hold back from challenging his students, but a student referenced that although the workload was impressive, their clear, calm, approachable teaching style helmed the course masterfully. I would consider that high praise, and maybe a little like Dr. Fisher. For being an insightful colleague, a trusted advisor to students, and an innovative leader in their school, this year's recipient is very well deserving of this special recognition. I would now like to ask Dr. Rob Shea to come forward to present the 2022 Dr. Peter Fisher Teaching and Learning Award to Mr. Paul Elliott, Academic Director of the Graduate Programs in Applied Ocean Technology in the School of Ocean Technology.
Thank you very much, Angie, and congratulations to Paul. You're an excellent choice for this honor. I think Dr. Clark did an excellent job in paying tribute to Dr. Fisher's contribution, but I personally feel I'd be remiss if I didn't make an acknowledgement myself. I also had the pleasure of working with Dr. Fisher on some of our program development committees and then some other tasks, and he had an absolutely terrific ability to get things done, building many of our programs from scratch, and he always seemed to be the voice of reason when dealing with thorny issues. Marine Institute really lost a beloved family member with Dr. Fisher's passing, but I think it's really fantastic that we will be able to celebrate his memory every year at graduation. Continuing with our program, the Marine Institute is also very proud of its many impressive alumni, and you are joining that group today. Our alumni who contribute both locally, nationally, and in international circles. We have established the Marine Institute Alumni Award to celebrate the success of our alumni. And at this point, I'd like to ask Dr. Shea to return and to present our Alumni Award for 2022.
Way too many folders here. So to the Fisher family, I'll come over and give you a hug later, but if you noticed, I couldn't even look at you when Angie was talking. So as my mom says, I'm a bit of a sook sometimes, so away you go. Thank you, Adam. And, you know, in addition to the wonderful moments we've shared here this afternoon, we're thrilled to present the next award in person at a graduation. We've really missed being in-person graduations. You can all understand we didn't choose to be in this profession of education because we didn't like people. If you're in the teaching profession and you don't like people, you might want to get out of it. But nevertheless, we want to recognize a special alumnus this afternoon of the Marine Institute. The President spoke earlier about the strength and connections to the Memorial Alumni family, which includes thousands of Marine Institute alumni who have been shaping the global marine and oceans industry since 1964. I want to share with you the story of Ross Butler this afternoon, one MI alumnus who has made a tremendous impact on worldwide seafood industry, but remains rooted and devoted to Newfoundland and Labrador. 40 years ago, yes, 80s, I'm going to date you. Well, I was starting at Memorial in 80s. My student number is 8036204. Yeah, you don't know about that, that's right. Interestingly enough, when you look at the career that Ross has had, and I'm going to just hit on a couple of high points because there's many and we couldn't choose them all. But when he graduated from MI, this young man went to work with then the leading seafood company in Newfoundland and Labrador, which was Fisheries Products International. He had a diploma of technology in fisheries, technology, and marine products in hand. With hard work, Ross really quickly rose to the executive level where he was recruited by Cook Aquaculture, a family-owned business from Atlantic Canada. As Senior VP Development at Cook, he played a pivotal role in bringing the company to Newfoundland and Labrador and employing hundreds and hundreds of people. Ross moved to Senior VP for Ocean Choice International at the time in their development and processing operations before returning to Cook. There he guided acquisitions of aquaculture farms in Europe, Central and South America, the UK, the USA, and elsewhere. It was an extraordinary growth period which saw Cook Aquaculture move from New Brunswick's largest salmon aquaculture business to the world's largest seafood farm. Today, he is President and CEO of Cook Seafood and Wan Chee's Seafood Company, two of the largest seafood companies in North America, operating in 4 continents with turnover in excess of $3 billion US dollars in 2020-21. He achieved all of this in his extraordinary career with the formal knowledge he got here at the MI and Memorial University of Newfoundland, just like you did. Maybe in 40 years, maybe I'll be introducing you. You think I'm going to be here in 40 years? I like that. That's pretty good. With integrity, empathy, communication, understanding, respect, and delegations, he became a team player and a leader. And that's the other thing when we talked about, and you heard all your speakers talk about competencies. It's all those competencies you bring to that employment. And being a champion for change. He was instrumental in moving MI forward. He was one of the biggest proponents of the bachelor's program within the Memorial family, the Bachelor of Technology. The B-Tech has opened even more doors for our diploma graduates. But Ross is not just a proven recruiter for the program. This year, he's on track to get his own Bachelor of Technology, which I think is absolutely brilliant. He has played a pivotal role as ambassador for the Canadian fishing industry and a strong advocate for the Marine Institute. He sits on our industry advisory board. He sat on the board of the Canadian Centre for Fisheries Innovation. He encourages others to come to the Marine Institute, including his daughter, who just graduated last fall, I believe. Despite all of Ross's career moves and living away, Ross never forgets his roots. Those important connections he forged 4 decades ago with his classmates, which I hope you're all going to stay in touch with your classmates as well. In considering our Marine Institute Alumni Award, we asked for nominations that would reflect 3 characteristics: professional achievement, contribution to society, and someone who inspires the Marine Institute community. It is our honor to present the Marine Institute Alumni Award to this proud alumnus, a friend and promoter of MI, who's always willing to give back. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating our recipient of the Marine Institute Alumni Award, Mr. Ross Butler.
Well, it's always great to be back on the rock. And before I get into my notes, I just want to make 2 comments. Number 1 is to the Fisher family. I was very fortunate, and amongst the people who knew Peter very well, and had the great pleasure to work alongside him in many different ways in my long association with the Marine Institute, and we certainly miss him. And to the music that we had, I think that's a fabulous addition to this particular function. And it's rather ironic because the morning that Dr. Shea, and I'll call him Rob from this point onward, called me, I was sitting on my back deck, as I usually am on Saturday mornings, listening to the VOCM Newfoundland show. And of course, we talked a little bit about this particular award, and we very quickly started talking about Newfoundland music. So that was something that we have in common. So to graduates, Madam Chancellor, congratulations on to your long-standing service. We certainly appreciate it, all of the alumni in this particular environment. President and Vice Chancellor Dr. Simmons, Minister Osborne, Vice President Dr. Shea, Vice President Ms. Brown, Associate Vice President Dr. Clark, and I'd be remiss to say that Dr. Clark was certainly not only instrumental in arranging all of this, but also, and I've already thanked her today, helping our daughter who just graduated with her master's in her transition to the Marine Institute as well. Associate Vice President Laurie Skinner, faculty, staff, and guests. I would like to express a deep gratitude and appreciation as I'm humbled to be here today to accept this award, having spent the past 4 decades working closely with the Marine Institute. And I must tell you, though, that I was absolutely thrilled when Dr. Shea, or Rob as I continue to call him, offered me this opportunity to address the graduating class. So I'm going to focus my address on a few messages that I would like to pass along to you, the graduates. 40 years ago, my graduating class walked across a similar stage at the College of Fisheries on Parade Street. And just earlier today, I drove past that old campus and showed my son where I attended the college. And we accepted, of course, our diplomas of technology. And a lot has changed over the past 40 years, certainly at Marine Institute, but also within our marine industries. And my first message to all of you as graduates is to be accepting of change and to seize that moment. You'll need to accept that change because the one constant that you're going to find, or at least from my experience, is that what is normal is change. As someone who lived through groundfish fisheries expansions in the 1980s, first when I went to work, followed by fisheries collapse, followed by moratoriums in the 90s, followed by crab and shrimp explosions and expansions. And then, of course, I moved over to aquaculture in the early 2000s. I would suggest to you that whatever you're thinking your career may be, sometimes the macro environment has slightly different plans for you. And so if somebody were to say to me even 10 years ago that you'll be managing a firm in the United States and have lived there for a number of years, I would have told me you're crazy. So sometimes change is inevitable. It will happen. Sometimes you can influence that change, but other times it's going to give you opportunity that you didn't even realize was coming. The most successful leaders of tomorrow will be those who can implement positive change management in the teams that they lead. The topic of leadership is therefore the second message that I want to discuss with the graduates. Your Marine Institute education has provided you with a skill set to be highly effective leaders. And leadership can often be defined in many ways. And successful skills can be developed and honed from the traditional boardroom leaders all the way to frontline organizations. A recent study of executive recruitment concluded that executive roles expect leaders to be adept communicators, relationship builders, and people-oriented problem solvers. I know most of your skills, because I went through here as well, are very highly technical. But this really says that on top of those, it's your people management skills that will allow you to move forward and be true leaders in your field. And my experience certainly reinforces and agrees with this conclusion, but I would go one step further and say that all managerial roles require this skill set to be highly effective managers and leaders. And so I would encourage you, therefore, to continue developing your leadership skills, both formally, such as enrolling into the new Marine Institute Certificate in Leadership, and informally through keen observation and study of highly effective leaders. I would encourage you to also volunteer your leadership talents to your local towns and communities, to service clubs, to churches, to charities, and whatever else in your environment that may need leadership talent. And this brings me to a third topic of offering a little advice that I've found to be one of the most powerful tools, at least in my career, and that is find yourself a mentor or a group of mentors that you can learn from. People who will provide you with sage and with thoughtful advice, who will push you to perform at your peak, but who will also challenge you to reconsider some of your decisions or look at a problem through a slightly different lens. I've had the privilege to develop several of these relationships along my career path, and some of my mentors are here with me today, and I consider them lifelong friends. And I certainly want to take this opportunity to thank each of them for your help, advice, encouragement, and friendship along the way. My next comment to you is one that you may not want to hear since you're here just finishing up your courses of study, but I need to encourage each of you to continue your lifelong learning and education. As somebody said earlier, you're graduating from one of the best and well-respected marine-focused institutions in the world. And both Marine Institute and Memorial University work very hard to build pathways for those of you wanting to continue your higher education by introducing transitions from technical training programs all the way through to PhD programs. And a core building block was the development of the Bachelor of Technology, which many people like me fought long and hard to encourage the government, Marine Institute, and MUN to build. So please use those programs to build on your own current success. Now, as a manager, a tool that I found serve me very well is to know your own strengths and weaknesses. And believe me, we all have them. You don't have to be the best at everything that you do, and you don't even have to be the smartest person in the world. But what you do have to be is very strategic at surrounding yourself with a team of people who can complement both your strengths and support your team's areas of weaknesses. So please remember that it always takes a team effort to deliver solid and sustainable organizational performance. And one of the last, and perhaps the most important piece of advice that I'll offer you, and to consider making your decisions about which organization you work with throughout your career, and that is to ensure that you choose wisely and you consider the alignment of your personal goals, your career aspirations, and your value system with the vision and the culture of the organization that you plan to join. And to better illustrate this point, I want to personalize the example. I grew up as a kid in coastal Newfoundland, much like many of the people here, and I was very heavily involved in the fishery, 7 generations at least. We think it might be longer, but we know we can go back at least 7. For me, it was always important to find an employer and a career path that was dedicated to marine industries, had a vision to sustain coastal communities, and one that had significant emphasis on supporting employees and their family. And I've been fortunate to always work for companies that share my value system. With Cook, this was exemplified by our 2006 announcement of our Newfoundland expansion, which, by the way, we made right here in the foyer of the Marine Institute, because I called up at that time Glenn and said, Glenn, we're going to make a big announcement about aquaculture in Newfoundland, and I need somewhere to host it. And Glenn said, come on. So we worked together on that one. Our investment was quickly followed by other companies, which collectively grew to what is now an important and growing finfish aquaculture industry, sustaining and growing coastal communities that have been significantly impacted by the groundfish collapse. One of my best and most memorable days in a 40-year career was the day that I represented this company to meet with the mayor and council in a small town of Butler on the south coast, to lay out our operating plans and to start the hiring process for a Newfoundland expansion. So the town hadn't seen much in the way of new economic opportunity since the moratorium, and when we exited the rec center where we had met, there was more than 100 people stood outside, and every one of them had a resume or an application looking to be our very first employees, and some of whom are still our employees. This was the kind of day that fuels a person for many years and rewards you for all of that effort. For me, there was a perfect alignment for my personal background, experience, and values with the corporate vision and culture that Cook continues to follow throughout our global operation. And as the old saying goes, if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I was just talking to one of my graduating class, Ed Goff, who's here with me. And of course, we were both saying that, we're not going to retire. And I said, I don't know why everybody wants to retire. 40 years, you're having fun, you're enjoying what you're doing. That's what I wish for you as well. So I hope that each of you find your perfect alignment and enjoy your career as much as I have. I wish each of the graduates the greatest of success as you take on the new challenge of finding your way forward. And lastly, I want to take this time to thank my most significant mentor and life partner, Rosalind, my wife. She has been unwavering in her encouragement and support over the past 40 years. And by the way, she was here at my graduation with me, but as my girlfriend at that point. To my son, Jack, who's here with me today and just toured MI and MUN, I should say, as he considers which colleges to apply for. And to my daughter, Emma, who's watching via the internet and who just joined you and I as Marine Institute alumni, having recently graduated with her master's. Thank you for putting up with all of our many moves, my excessive travel, the continuous emails and phone calls that you've collectively endured. And thanks again to Marine Institute for this honor and to the graduates for giving this old guy an opportunity to take a few minutes to offer you a few words of advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butler, for your address. There's definitely some excellent advice in there for our graduates and for everybody in the room. And congratulations on this well-deserved honor. On behalf of management, faculty, and staff, I congratulate all our graduates once again on your achievements. We recognize that many of you have undertaken significant personal change and sacrifice during your time here. Many of you left home for the first time or entered post-secondary or advanced diploma programs for the first time. Some walked away from paying jobs to return to school. Some obtained their first professional work experience. Some took temporary leave of family, spouses, and children outside St. John's, and others raised children while they were in school. You have faced great challenges inside and outside of Marine Institute, not to mention the pandemic, and you have persevered and succeeded. And I know for a fact that you did have some fun and met some lifelong friends along the way. Through it all, your loved ones have been with you every step of the way, either here in St. John's or back home. This journey would not have been possible without their support in its many forms, be it a reassuring conversation, a care package, or just a low-stress environment. That type of generosity is difficult to repay, but perhaps we can start here now with a small gesture. Graduates, as is our graduation tradition, I would like you to stand, turn and face your loved ones, and offer a round of heartfelt applause. Thank you. Finally, graduates, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and we ask that you remain in touch throughout your professional careers and through your continued academic and career adventures. We really would like to hear from you as you carry on into the future. With that, we are very nearly ready to bring graduation to a close, but I do have a couple of very quick housekeeping items, and then I need to call on Dr. Shea one last time. So first, if we could have our medal winners stick around for a photograph. We do have a reception downstairs, as many of you are aware, that will probably start in 15 or 20 minutes, so that gives you some time to get some pictures done outside. No need to rush. Chef Haynes and his team have got a real treat in store, I'm sure. And it is downstairs over the in the basement where the cafeteria is, and there is an elevator for anyone who feels that they need to avail of it. And so finally, our last item is Dr. Shea's right here. Please go right ahead.
We're almost there, folks. And to the people, I want to say that the organizing team called me on Wednesday morning, court date, and said the gym is about 29 Celsius today, and it's going to be one of the hottest days of the year coming up on Friday with humidity. So we've had Cool-Rite in, trying to pump in as much cool air as we possibly can today. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's probably cooler here than it is out there. There's also a tent also outside where the students will know, outside where the little rotunda is, where there's some park benches and stuff. So just out there, so if you wanted to go out and get some fresh air. So this is an impromptu piece. I just thought it'd be remiss if we didn't, before the Ode to Newfoundland was sung, I didn't do an ode to our Chancellor. Because our Chancellor is finishing up after a decade of service. And I just want to read a few things for you to recognize her amazing service to community. And Mr. Butler mentioned about giving back to community. So for those of you who are not aware, Dr. Susan Dyer Knight will be stepping down as Chancellor at the end of July. And this graduation at the Marine Institute is her last formal graduation. Dr. Dyer Knight was appointed as Chancellor of Memorial in 2012, the first woman ever to serve as Chancellor of Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. Over the past 10 years, she's officiated a convocation ceremonies conferring nearly 30,000 Memorial University degrees. And I can assure you that she shook every hand that she possibly could because it was absolutely amazing. Her time as Chancellor saw a significant period of growth in graduate and international students at Memorial, with the alumni family growing to more than 100,000 alumni, which you are all a part of now. Dr. Dyer Knight is a Memorial alumni, holding bachelor degrees in music and music education, as well as an honorary doctorate of law degrees. She also holds a Master of Arts degree in music education from St. Thomas University, Minnesota, and a PhD from the University of London. She is also the founder and artistic director emerita of Shalloway Youth Choir of Newfoundland and Labrador. On behalf of the Fisheries and Marine Institute and Memorial University, I would like to thank Dr. Susan Dyer Knight. I'm not going to look at you either because I'm going to get very sooky again, for her contribution to the growth and well-being of Memorial University, and wish her well as she enters the next chapter of your life. You truly have been an inspiration to thousands of people by your service, your work, and your mentorship. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Dr. Susan Dyer Knight for her outstanding service.
So while we're standing, I guess, we're ready to bring Convocation to a close. I would ask that everybody please wait until the podium group leaves and then the graduates leave, and then we can all proceed outwards. And now we'll finish with the Ode to Newfoundland. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations.